of the previous video about how I use Google Notebook LM in terms of how I study BJJ moves, specifically on the open guard concepts that I found related to Levi Jones Leary's guard. This is the video section now that shows you how I transition from working from the computer, from my notes, to actually on the mat, and I hope you find this interesting. So I'm just going to break down some of the source video that I'm referencing on, and I'm trying to implement it on the mat, how I succeed or fail. Hope you enjoy it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this format. Let me know in the comments. Let's get started.
Concept number 1. The importance of the top knee. Therefore, when people retain guard, they believe to prevent a pass, the important knee to keep close to your chest is the bottom one. However, if we keep this one close and neglect the top knee, we give our opponent a lot of space to work in for tight waists, get underhooks, and pass chest to chest, which will then give them the control to flatten you out and beat the bottom knee, which you work so hard to keep connected to your elbow. So whenever Levi is on a hip, he keeps his top knee as close to his chest as possible by just pulling it in. He doesn't self-frame at all either. Pulling your knee in like this requires flexibility, but we'll get onto why Levi doesn't self-frame in the next concept. Number 2. Concept number 2. Keep your knees close to your chest and your head and shoulders in between your knees. Why? To prevent two things. Firstly, if your legs begin passing across your center line, there are smash pass options. But secondly, it makes flanking much easier. Let's look at an example of this. Now notice the difference with Levi. We're in the exact same scenarios with Tommy. Joseph has a top ankle grip and is preparing to flank. However, as Levi is super disciplined with keeping his head and shoulders in between his legs, when Joseph tries to pass the ankle across to flank, it's weak, as Levi's elbow works as a self-frame on his leg.
So let's get started. The first video clip would be drilling with my friend Rahul. Rahul's a brown belt and we're about the same size and weight, so that's a good measurement in terms of how I can deal with the pressure and the weight. So the first two concepts of the video is essentially just keeping my knees as close to my chest as possible, especially the top knee, while also maintaining an alignment of my two arms as well as my head in between my two knee lines. So that's all I'm really trying to do at this point. Just an FYI and just a reminder that this is not a game or a guard game that I usually play, so I'm really learning from the video purely that I saw a week ago. So if anybody watching who is good at playing this guard similar to Levi's, please feel free to drop a note and help me out. I'm not here to show an instruction for this video. I'm showing how I learn and how I'm experimenting live with what I've learned and the notes that I'm taking. So in this case, Rahul has a preference of doing J-point camping as well as low sprawl passing. So after I've been able to hold off any advancement from his initial pass attempts. Again, we're not doing any subs, we're not doing any sweeps, I'm not attempting any counters or counter attacks. I'm just retaining guard in supine. I know it's not ideal, but the whole point of this is really just to work on the guard and not add complexities to it. So now Rahul is adding more variables into play as he sprawls down on my top leg. My job is really to maintain the structure of the top knee, keeping it just at the edge of his body, making sure that he doesn't drop inside. That gives him a half guard pass opportunity, inside half guard pass opportunity, but also making sure that I don't get smashed to my right to set up a smash pass. So this is what I'm doing at the moment. It's working pretty well until the point that Rahul kind of decides to switch it up a bit and weaves his arm between my legs to split it and try to induce the pass from that sequence, which made the top knee framing a little bit more difficult because now he can use his deltoid to put flanking pressure down. So I have to put the discipline in and put my arm back in to support my top knee. But again, we're learning what works and what doesn't work from the way I play. So him switching to an over the back grip exposed pretty much like knocked out the frame. And again, the purpose of this exercise is just to preserve the past, so the game ends there. Now we have a blue belt, a friend of mine, Dr. Donald, and he kind of passes the same way as well, but he's a little bit smaller than me. He's a little lighter, and he has more preference of moving back and forth to HQ and reverting to J point camping if the opportunity arises. So the whole exercise is still exactly the same. I still want to play supine guard, keeping my hands in between my knees and see where this goes. Again, my goal is not to counterattack. My goal is not to sweep. My goal is not even to sit up. My goal is really just to get a feel of what happens so I can be more aware of what's going on, what the tendencies are, and what I can expect. And as you can see here, one first critical mistake that I kind of did was now my left foot, I don't have a butterfly hook anymore. It's all completely outside. So I have to make sure to find a way to reinsert my top knee so that I have space to get that frame back and also get my foot back in front of him to either play butterfly or just post my foot on his hips. And again, he's trying to flank from the outside. I'm doing my high leg pummel. If you want to take a look at my leg pummel video for non-flexible guys, I'll drop a link in the description. But here we go. He's still trying to figure out how to clear that top knee shield, and clearly being able to maintain that top knee close to my chest is really useful. But as you can see, as soon as it gets stretched out, I really have to bail. And one more time, Doc Donald goes to a low split camp pass, and I'm just trying to get him off me, essentially keep him off to the side. And as soon as he did this hip switching is pretty much like my Achilles heel, and he was able to beat my lower leg, and now my frame is a bit compromised and my shoulder is starting to get flat. I'm trying to get my cross shoulder post down as much as I can, but as you can see, he is gaining ground. Unfortunately, he retreated, so we're able to kind of restart. That's one of the feedback that I gave Donald, that he has a tendency to give up his advancement and just completely resets, which makes him having to do everything all over again. But again, he has really good like switching back and forth, left and right. Now he's back to that low squat, and again he cleared my top knee. That is my fatal mistake here, and this is pretty much game over. There's no point trying to fight this, because again, we have a specific purpose in our training, and this counts as a win for him because he cleared my top leg. Thank you, Doc.
Concept number 3. Don't shrimp to turn, use an elbow post. Shrimping is a fundamental jiu-jitsu movement that is taught to all beginners, but in the world of open guard retention, it can be a hindrance. Why is this? As our opponent flanks and turns our hips away, if we use a foot on the floor to hip escape or shrimp, as we go to face our opponent, two things can happen. Number 1, we open up a lot of space by our now top hip, allowing your opponent to take cross scoop grip counters like Dorian does here, or get a deep grip on the hip and threaten these hip and knee post passes. Secondly, we break concept number 1. If we use our foot to face, we no longer have our top knee close to our chest. So when we elbow post, it allows us to switch our hips, keeping our knee close to our chest. And we can keep our other arm stiff arm framing to maintain distance.
So the next principle is the hand posting one, right? So essentially, I just want to be able to use my hand and like a kickstand to square my hip back up rather than sacrificing that high knee to chest position to not get extended. So this is pretty straightforward. I think this is one of a little bit more intuitive things for me to do. But also I kind of realize as I roll with people who are lighter than me or less skilled than me, I try not to like use as much power and strength as well. Try to use in technique, and you can see that I still make a lot of very fundamental mistakes, and I have to resort to my turtle game. Even with that slow guard pass, and she can pass to my north south. So clearly, there are a lot of things to work on.
Concept number 6. Playing on our back is a bad idea when we don't have connection. This is because your opponent will just flank continuously until they set up a deep pass attempt or force you to be tired. So we need to sit up whenever there's enough distance for us to safely do it. However, we don't just rock or use our hands to facilitate this movement. If we do, we open up space by our elbows, allowing our opponents to shoot body locks, get chest to chest, and eventually pass. So what does Levi do to prevent this and manage distance? He uses a foot frame. This
4 and 5, I think, because those are again attacks. So, and this is the one that going to, in terms of like managing distance, from going from supine to seated, and when to engage. This is something that I like to do ever since I learned how to play butterfly and single leg X. So essentially just like tracing the knee, tracing the shin, and tracing the knee to prevent people from coming in when I'm sitting up. I don't remember where I saw it. It's probably from an old Marcelo instructional or something from 10 years ago, but that is something that works really well for me when I'm playing seated. But it never really occurred to me to use this as like a stay away from me frame, so that I can sit up more safely without succumbing to the person's underhooks or dive in attacks. So as you can see, I'm playing butterfly. This is Ralph again. You probably see him in a lot of my other videos. So I'm just using my playing butterfly, and I'm just using my legs, my foot, the sole of my foot, to manage distance, to kind of keep him away, just to make sure that I get to engage when I'm ready to engage, and rather than just like lying down all the time, which is not really a good tactic for most people. And Ralph is 10 kg lighter than me, but his top pressure is very, very challenging to deal with when he does his camp passing. So this is a good time for me to try the other two concepts. The other two concepts that will pop up shortly would involve about when to engage into a counterattack, as well as how to counter north-south passing. I don't think I was able to record the north-south dilemma that much for this session, but here are the two concepts, concept 4 and concept 5, about north-south.
Concept number 4. Never tolerate north-south. Levi's coach Lachlan Giles went into his match with Cade Rotolo with the idea of fighting from this position, to attack with K-guard and even this reverse Choi bar. However, we all know in hindsight that didn't work for him. Levi has a different approach. He'll aim to never let them get there in the first place. Which is easier said than done, so how does he do this? With these 3 steps. Number 1, framing the elbow. Concept number 5. When to attack. If we stay retaining forever, even with perfect retention, we will eventually get tired, make a mistake, and get passed or subbed. Therefore, the second we defend back to a neutral position, we want to attack, to stop these defensive cycles continuing over and over again. Levi has done this with his retention from north-south to attack the legs, but his main cue is this. You are looking to get your top foot framing against the shoulders, or your bottom foot framing the hip.
So there you go. Concept 4 and concept 5 will be something that I'll probably use next week's time to work on it. I'm trying this whole concept thing as well from a less advantageous position, such as like being passed and just trying to recover, and see where that goes. And here I'm asking another friend of mine, Beltran, to go to north-south as much as he can. He is a lot bigger than me and a lot taller, so this is really challenging for me to get any of my frames to work. So again, I don't expect it to I don't expect myself to get it until probably a couple of weeks of work. So it's still super helpful, and I'm super, super thankful of all my training partners that allow me to do what I need to do, allow me to experiment on what specifically that is I'm trying to work on without having to deviate to another things. Understand that there are a lot of ways to do certain concepts, but at the same time, it doesn't really mean that it's. I don't see the reason of rushing through things to when I'm learning a specific video and specific notes that I've taken. So again, regardless of partner size, partner experience, I find a lot of value from their responses, from their tendencies, from their reactions. And hope you like this video, and I hope that I can add more of my attack sequences through this practice, like from my Wayoki wrist lock to leg entries and things, and other things that I'm still working on to add to my game. Thank you again for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and support my channel. I appreciate it a lot. Any comments, any feedback, any tips, please put your comments below. Be respectful to the community, and until next time, Dave, your Jiu-Jitsu uncle out. Thank you so much.